Hello there, welcome to Speaking of Business. I'm your host, Nancy Boyle, and today we've got a great show. We're going to be talking to some of the winners from the Jacksonville Startup Weekend that was held recently back in January. So joining me today on the first half of the show are Ujwala Rangoli with iStartJax, Brian Smith, I got two Brians today, Brian Smith with Fighter Energies, and Jennifer Chapman with the Prinstitute. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brian, sorry about that.
Oh, no problem.
Ujwala, I want to start with you, though, because let's talk a little bit about iStartJax, what the organization is all about, and then for those in our audience who maybe weren't familiar with the Startup Weekend, tell a little bit about that, okay?
Okay. iStartJax is a business incubator we formed towards the end of last year. And basically, we were looking at helping the entrepreneur community and help Jacksonville create more jobs, because that is the need of the hour. So in the month of January, we conducted Startup Weekend, and we received overwhelming response from community. We had global and local sponsors. We had about 16 mentors from various domains for the event. We had various sponsors, and we've had 16 different teams participate. And we have today winners from the team. Brian is here today from one of the teams, and finally he became the board member. He'll speak to that more. But the event was great, and we had 5 winners declared at the end of the event. Mayor Alvin Brown was one of the keynote speakers. We participated with the Jacksonville Chamber and Indo-US Chamber to conduct this event, and basically received enormous response. It was very enriching experience. Now, beyond the Startup Weekend, we are trying to engage the community and create resources in the form of technology tools and in the form of capital to help these teams keep going. We are also conducting just-in-time workshops on various topics like social media, how to protect intellectual property in this world of collaboration and innovation. And also we are engaging with different various global initiatives, like we have 1 million by 1 million, which is from Silicon Valley entrepreneur Shramana Mitra. And we are also, we have affiliate programs with various other initiatives like IBM 2012 camp, which Brian will speak to. So all in all, it was a very enriching experience, and I'm very glad that we are back here on the show talking about it.
And we're glad to have you back.
Yeah.
It's always nice when you're talking about an event coming up to actually be able to see what happened and some of the results. So, Brian, I'm going to shift to you now. And why don't you tell us your experience, because you were already an entrepreneur before this weekend,
Yes,
correct?
exactly.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your business and then maybe share your experience of the weekend.
Well, I started a company 2 years ago now called Fighter International. I sell energy drinks and other supplements, and my primary drink is Fighter Energy, so you can Google it and find it, and you're good to go. But basically, I help to promote the Startup Weekend, and I try to get myself involved in as much as I can with UNF, the SBDC, and iStart as well now. And so I decided to go ahead and join the event, and I joined a team called Armex. And what came after that was just phenomenal to me. I mean, we had 54 hours to build an entire business, and I mean the synergy of the team was crazy. The energy was awesome, and we were able to get a fully functioning site, 100 likes on Facebook. I mean, we had this great presentation put together. It was just all kinds of just amazing things that we accomplished, and we were fortunate enough to be one of the top finalists as well. After that event, I spoke with MJ with iStartJax, and he requested that I go to San Francisco for the IBM Smart Camp, because we're trying to represent entrepreneurship in Florida over in California and really kind of show that, hey, we can compete with the Silicon Valley, entrepreneurs and that sort of thing, and we want to bring IBM Smart Camp over to Miami. So that trip was just phenomenal. Like I can't even explain. basically, I was able to go and see the Apple headquarters and meet some of the top executives in charge of iTunes, and I was able to go to Facebook's old headquarters and pitch some ideas with the TCV vice president, and just all kinds of amazing experiences through that. And that was all just because of iStart. So after that event, basically what the IBM Smart Camp event was entrepreneurs from all over the world come together, and it's a year-long event, and throughout the year within their respective countries, they pitch their ideas, and then the winners from those countries come together and this one big event in San Francisco. And then they proclaim the winner, and they get a lot of help and funding and things to help them build their businesses. So that's why we're trying to bring that over to Florida as well. So once I came back from that trip, I had a conversation with MJ, and he was interested in bringing me on board as an executive director on iStart. So now I'm working with Jwala and Sheena and the rest of the crew, and trying to really build the entrepreneurial environment here in Jacksonville and throughout Florida.
Which is kind of interesting, because I had a conversation prior to the end of the year last year with several people who are in these various aspects of technology and who are doing some really amazing and serious things, and they just don't get the credibility. The perception is, you're in Florida, how good can you be? So to be able to bring something like that here to really showcase those businesses.
We've got it going on.
I mean, it's happening here. There's some very dynamic
Absolutely.
technology businesses, and so that's exciting. I'm glad to hear that.
Absolutely.
And last but certainly not least, Miss Jennifer, the winner of the iStart Weekend. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So let's talk about your experience, because you were not an entrepreneur when you walked into that event,
No.
correct? So what made you decide to go? I mean, what was that spark that said, I think I'm going to go do this?
I had been chewing on an idea for a few months. It was keeping me up at night. I shared it with a few girlfriends at our book club and other conversations, and I couldn't shake the idea. And I'm a active member of the chamber through my day job, and had heard about the experience, the Startup Weekend opportunity, and said to myself, you know what, I may not be able to figure out how to do this on my own. I think I'm going to go ahead and sign up and see what they have to offer. And as it got closer to the event, I started getting excited and realized this could be it. When I pitched my idea, the reception that I got from the group and that was there for the weekend was amazing, and I knew I'd made the right decision. And it only got better as every hour ticked on. It was an awesome opportunity.
Which I think for the audience's benefit, it's 54 hours straight. You start on Friday and you go until Sunday. So let's hear your idea. Let's talk about your business.
Oh, well, so I pitched an idea that is based on a popular website called Pinterest.
Okay.
And we had pitched an idea that we think is a way for people to make money off Pinterest. And I did learn that it's a really exciting idea, and probably not one that I want to broadcast until we're ready to go live. Not much more than that. We did have a little bit of drama at the end of the event. But what I did get was great immediate feedback about the validity of the idea and the business possibilities that come with the idea. And I don't know that I would have been able to do that on my own. It would have been piecemeal, and perhaps would have given another person who had all of the right skills and support to take the idea and run with it quicker to market than I could. So it was well worth the experience, even 54 hours straight.
Now let's be a little more specific. Okay, we won't give away the idea because we don't want to steal your thunder. So you come into this event. There are how many people there?
As I understand it, there were 150 people that signed up. Half of them were technical people, programmers, developers, and the like. And then the other half were non-technical people like me who either had an expertise in marketing or legal or accounting, or they just had an idea and they wanted to pitch. And that was my situation. I had an idea. In fact, I even prepared a low-tech visual aid. I brought a bulletin board with pictures pinned to it.
Okay.
And then it's rapid-fire idea pitching. Everybody got 60 seconds, literally 60 seconds. They shooed you off the stage at the end. And I think there were 58 ideas pitched on Friday night. And as it was said earlier, the top 16 teams went on to compete.
Okay, so now let's go back here to Brian, because you're there, you're at this event, you're already got a business, and you're excited, and you
Right.
see people like Jennifer coming in pitching their idea.
Yeah.
So you're not going to pitch an idea. So how do you get involved?
Well, originally I was going to go in as like a mentor type of thing, but I went ahead and signed up with the event, and you know, the whole event starts off basically with a really interesting exercise where everyone plays a big game of what was it? What was
Rock,
it?
paper,
Rock, paper,
scissors.
scissors.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's
Ah.
playing this giant game of rock, paper, scissors to break the ice, you know, and then everyone goes up, posts their ideas up on the front, and you just kind of group up, right? And you just say, hey, I like that. I think I can contribute to that. And that's really what business is about, is saying, you know what can I contribute to somebody else and their idea? How can I make them successful? So, you know, I was like, all right, let's jump on this thing. So, you know, I found Eric and his group, and they were just, it was just, I don't know, blind luck, I guess. That was such a great group. But if I could offer any type of advice for someone going to one of these events is, you know, be very specific about what your skill set is, and if you have an idea, be specific about what you need, you know, because you get up there, you pitch your idea, and you want people to say, you know what, I want to get on board that. And you got to be passionate, and you got to be like, you know, this is my idea, and I'm not going to fail. I'm going to make it happen. So, and that type of energy draws other people to you. So, and I just love being a part of that. So, and I was thoroughly surprised. It actually exceeded my expectations by a lot.
Okay, so Jennifer, let's go back to you. So here you are, you're there, you pitch the idea, lo and behold. So now you got all these strange people coming up and saying, hey, can I be part of this? Is that right?
It literally was. Yeah, they did something called crowdsourcing where everybody ran around the room and doing exactly what he said. They said, I have these skill sets, or I'm interested in that idea. And I tried to build a team of people that I thought not only represented the skills that we needed to win the weekend, but also who seemed like they might be able to work together well going forward. Of the 6 people that worked on my team, all 6 had an interest in at least helping out initially, and 4 of us are still working on a regular basis to try and get this company off the ground.
Well, that's excellent.
Yeah.
So now, Ujwala, we've had this weekend. We've got this great success. What's happening next? We're trying to bring in the IBM Smart thing that Brian was talking about.
Smart Camp,
Okay.
yes.
And so what's next for iStart?
There are various things we are working on, and people like Jennifer who have day jobs and who are trying to get off the ground. We basically are conducting 2 camps, one on this Saturday, 31st, and another in April, trying to get these teams together and identify and listen to what are their top 3 or top 4 challenges and what do they need help with. We know based on our conversations with them that they need help with technology in the technology space. They also need help in a lot of other areas. So we are going to meet with them. We are going to kind of focus on a few things and help them. Also, we are conducting just-in-time workshops. So again, to make sure that we are providing resources and educating the entrepreneurial community here. So those resources, those workshops are in the play. We are also, again, talking to various global initiatives to bring those programs here, like Startup Weekend, so that we can again generate revenue, generate more jobs. So those are some of the things we are working on, and we are always looking for bright and smart people to join iStart. Brian is one of them. So that's it.
Well, and one thing that we forgot to mention, as the winner, you actually won some money.
I did get a gift package, a prize package. None of it was actual money, cash in
okay.
hand, but I did get a number of really generous offers. We received legal counsel, 10 hours of legal counsel from a local law firm, free business cards, and probably the thing that's paid off the most was the opportunity for us to meet at the Co-work in downtown Jax, which is a new co-working space at the corner of Forsyth and Main. It's an environment that's really designed for collaboration and for building a business. It's founded by a gentleman who's an entrepreneur himself, and we were given the opportunity to use that space for 3 months free of charge. And that's been really great for us to have a place where we can meet. We're not sitting in someone's living room or at a Starbucks. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but having that and a few other things. I think all told there were $25,000 in in-kind gifts given to the top teams to share. So that was wonderfully generous and exciting for us.
Well, and sometimes it's not just the cash. I mean, if you can
Right.
get somebody else to pay for something, I mean,
Yes.
that's pretty much almost like cash.
And
in your
honestly,
pocket.
it's the networking of the event
Right.
that really has the value. So.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, we wish you lots of luck. We're going to go
Thank
to
you.
break. You in the audience, don't go away. We've got some more exciting things to talk about. So we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you for serving.
Thank you.
We thank the troops for all the support they've given us, but how do we thank the ones who support them?
Thank you for your service.
Thanks USA provides scholarships to the spouses and children of our troops and helps give a future to the people who support the troops the most.
Thanks for supporting them.
Thank you for your dedication.
Go to ThanksUSA.org to see how you can express your appreciation for what they do for our heroes.
Thank you.
Go to ThanksUSA.org now.
Thank you.
Hello there. Welcome back to Speaking of Business. Again, I'm your host, Nancy Boyle, and we've been talking about the recent Startup Jacksonville weekend and sort of the entrepreneurial stories that have taken place as a result of the weekend. So joining me on the second half of our show are Brian Doyle, my other Brian, with Ziffer, Sheena Koshi with iStart Jacksonville, and Eric Keeler with Armex Industries. So welcome. Okay, let's see. Brian, let's start with you because you had an experience before the weekend that kind of led you into the weekend. So why don't we sort of travel that path?
Sure. A coworker of mine actually approached me of coming on board doing a startup weekend, and I had an idea, and he had an idea, so we decided we were going to go with his idea. But previous to that, there was another event at the library. I would like to plug the local library at this time.
Yes, okay, that's good.
So we attended the event, and what we learned, because they showed us a video from the Tallahassee Startup Weekend,
Okay,
and what we learned was that a lot of the teams coming in already had working functional prototypes of their idea.
okay.
So my buddy and I sat back and go, wow, they did some amazing things. And then the winners already had clear technology, but they needed guidance around business development, and that's what iStart primarily provides, along with the technology components.
Okay.
But we were both technologists, so we spent 2 weeks prior to the startup weekend creating a back end for the system, services for the web, and then an entire iPhone application.
Wow.
So when we showed up to the iStart weekend, we felt we were very prepared in a technology sense. We had established the domain. When we formed the team after the pitch, we had people sign up. We already had kind of established what we wanted to get accomplished for the weekend, which really helped us out. So the first night we did some pre-planning. We had everybody get everybody's contact information, put everybody on the email, similar email. We already had document sharing going. We already had a rough business plan, and we spent the majority of the weekend refining that business plan and that business model to allow us to be successful when we stood up at the end of the weekend and presented. Now, when you come full circle to that, some people did not have a functional prototype or technology, and they came with other ideas. But there was enough talent here in Jacksonville, especially with iStart, that they were able to provide some of those technology resources to get stuff up and going. And that was really nice to see that with other teams come together. And if you want to come back to me on the aftermath of iStart, I can share that with you.
Okay, I want to jump over here to Eric. So Eric, were you like Brian? You had gone to a pre-event and sort of knew what you're getting yourself into?
Yeah, we were actually, me and a friend of mine had actually gone to the event at the library to kind of get a feel for what the weekend was going to be about, kind of
Okay.
get an idea of what we needed to be prepared for. So.
Okay, so did you have a similar experience to Brian where it's like, oh, I think I better do some prep stuff here and come in with more than just an idea?
Well, actually, the idea had been worked on for several years prior to that.
Oh, okay.
One of my coworkers had brought the event to my attention, knowing that I've been working on this for quite some time.
Okay, now, can we talk about what your idea was, or is it sort of like Jennifer, it's still in the incubation part of it?
No, we can go ahead and talk
All right,
about
well,
it.
why don't you tell us about your business then?
Okay, well, our idea basically stands on the premise of building environmental hazard protection suits for extreme environments, say like Antarctica or deserts like the Sahara.
Okay.
It's a suit that you're able to wear that creates a thermal barrier between you and your environment, allowing you to weather the conditions without any stress. So.
Okay. So did you come in with a suit? Did you have a prototype of a suit?
We had a rough working prototype. A lot of the more refined functions of the suit weren't operational at the time, but we did come in with the thermal barrier at least. So.
Okay. And then Sheena, I know, you're not one of the entrepreneurs, you're part of iStart JAX, but what got you involved in this organization? Here you are, you're working for a large company, and
Sure. I think the most exciting part for me was the fact that I didn't realize I'm new to Jacksonville. It's only been a couple of years since I've moved here, and this was such an enthusiastic, just the response and the energy of the organizing committee. I think that's what attracted me. I spoke to MJ and Ujvala before, and they'd asked for help on promoting it through social media, and I was like, I'm all for it, just because I don't think, I think Jackson was a great place to live, and Jackson was a great place to work, but it is not synonymous to startups in everyone's mind, and I think that's a wrong idea, because we have such tremendous energy and tremendous talent here, and I think we need to promote it through events like this. So I think the enthusiasm is what drew me in.
well, and there's so many resources here, whether they're government or nonprofit resources, that all work together, which is very unusual. I go around the state and I'm just amazed at how some of these organizations are clashing with each other instead of, we're very fortunate here in Jacksonville and that they collaborate.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to Brian and Eric, since you guys are the new businesses. You go to this pre-event, you're prepped as best you can be. You come in with your prototype. It's Friday. You got 60 seconds to pitch this idea. It's you and your buddy.
That's right.
Just, kind of walk us through this, because each of you have a similar experience, and yet it's still going to be different.
We were a hard sell to the crowd. Like Jennifer talked about, crowdsourcing it was challenging.
Okay.
And we had all this wonderful stuff, and people thought our idea was good, but they didn't fully. It's hard to communicate that in the 60 seconds and even the hour you have to grab resources and bring members on board. So there was a voting that takes place. Everybody gets a couple sticky pads, and they're able to vote on the different ideas hanging around the room. So obviously we just voted for ourselves.
Well,
right.
Absolutely. That's what we're there for.
And then we went around and we just tried to talk about it as fast as possible with people, try to bring the concept on without fully divulging the entire idea. But we were able to, come in. I think we were one of the last teams to team up. But it worked out really well, and the team we had was dynamic, and they stuck it out through the entire 54 hours. Some teams that formed, some people fell apart, because you have to remember, everybody's there with their idea, and you're putting it out there. You're putting your idea out there. It's all out there, right? And if you don't get voted for, it's
got to be crushing.
It's crushing. It's one of the hardest parts of being an entrepreneur is standing up and knocking on the door, but you keep doing it, and for nothing else, that was a good experience for everybody in the room. So. Going through the startup weekend was challenging. We had 3 team members that were under the weather, but they powered through it anyway. We were out there till 1, 2 in the morning, and we were up as early as 6, getting back in there and just plugging away at it. They don't tell you that you have 4 minutes at the end to present your idea, right? You have 4 minutes, so you have to have a presentation that covers your customer validation, your marketing plan, your business finances, in 4 minutes. That took up a bulk of our time.
It's
presenting
tough,
it.
because you got this much information,
Right.
you got to synthesize it down to this.
And when we went into iStar, we went with the scenario that we would have starting a company under the best possible circumstances, that we were going to get $1.2 million, and we were going to do these things. But now afterwards, we've had to dial back down to reality and figure out how we can bootstrap our business and still be successful.
Okay, and Eric, I want to come back to you. Because obviously you experienced a similar thing.
Yeah.
You got to crowdsource, you got to build up this team.
Yeah.
And so why don't you share your sort of evolution through that process?
Well, you got to get up on the stage. One of the things we learned by going to the pre-event was that you need to be specific with your requests, and you've got to have something that stands out from the other ideas. You got to get something that catches people's attention to get them to vote for you so your idea can go to the next stage.
Okay.
And then once it's gone to that next stage, it's really a matter of keeping that synergy, that energy, and that momentum going to keep people on board to work through the whole 54 hours, keep them energized and excited throughout the weekend. It was a pretty fantastic opportunity. But the hardest part, I'd say, would definitely be condensing everything that you've done throughout that weekend into 4 minutes to communicate it to the judges at the end of the event.
Okay, so you've got this 4-minute presentation. Do you pretty much have a full-blown business plan at the end of the weekend? I mean, did you walk out of there with a real game plan in place?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually walked out with a full-blown, 12-page business plan, a 3-year financial plan breakdown for approaching angels and VCs that we could actually use our presentation to go ahead and knock on that door and say, hey, this is what we've got, what do you think?
Okay,
So-
Brian, same thing for you?
Very similar.
Okay.
Very similar.
Okay, so now we've got these two businesses, and are you willing to share your idea, or is it a little premature? It's okay if it is.
It's a little premature,
Okay.
but it's in the capacity management for the retail space. So
Okay.
we're going to launch in Jacksonville.
Okay.
So we're going to start here. iStart helped us. All our team members are in Jacksonville. We think it's the right thing to do.
Okay.
We've looked at other markets. They're very attractive and very receptive. However, we think we should start in Jacksonville, keep it local, and grow it, because this is where our support base is.
Sure.
And, so we're here with you. That's
Okay, and Eric, now are you in production yet?
Mm-hmm. We've actually moved to kind of initial stage production. We actually acquired a VC who's now funding kind of rudimentary stage R&D for our project, so that we can take all of the more expensive options that we needed to develop for it and get those off the ground.
Excellent. Sheena, I want to come back to you. I don't want to leave you out of this conversation because you're the social media expert, okay?
yeah.
So we've talked to 3 business owners now that are in production, getting ready to launch. The other 2 are getting ready to launch. So in what capacity is iStart Jax, and especially you with your social media expertise, what role are you playing in carrying this forward?
We just want to make sure that we're providing as much support and access to resources to these teams as possible. And that's to anybody in Jacksonville with a startup idea. If you want to reach out to us, we are willing to provide that support and provide the access to resources that you want. If you want, you can reach out to us at info@istartjax.com. And as far as social media is concerned, one of the things that we're doing about the just-in-time workshops that Ujwala was talking about. The first workshop that we had was a social media workshop. I mean, as you know, everybody's on social media these days, and it is the way to get your information out there. And we conducted a 2.5-hour workshop where people signed up, and most of them were Jacksonville natives and from the Startup Jacksonville teams. And we had an amazingly collaborative session where we talked about different ways through which we can utilize social media to promote their business. So we're just really excited to be in this space and to be a support for them. So anybody out there who has an idea and who wants support the way we've been providing, just reach out and tell us how we can help you.
When I first heard about this weekend in 54 hours, I was thinking, oh my God, they're never going to live through this. But do you have another weekend planned? Is it coming up? Is it going to be an annual thing?
It's going to be an annual thing, but we do have other events coming up. We're trying to bring the IBM Smart Camp here, but we're also trying to bring other events of the same nature as Startup Jacksonville to Jacksonville this year.